Hello, and welcome to part 2 of how to get in shape using the tried and true fitness fundamentals. I'm Dwayne, and I'm starting another fitness journey, only this time I'm not using any supplements, not even protein powder, to show you that you do not need them. Instead, I'm going to follow the 4 essential fitness fundamentals, and I'm going to teach you what they are along the way. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, I strongly recommend going back and watching that one first. I originally intended these all as one video, but decided I didn't want to skimp on any of the details, so I broke them up instead. But they do go in a particular order, and every part is important. But hey, no one's going to tell you what to do, right? Let's get back to it. Okay, so now that you've figured out your baseline, you've got the info that you need to go about changing your body with scientific accuracy. Now, what would you guess is the most important factor to weight loss? You'll hear a million different answers online. Some people say it's all about the diet. Others say you can eat whatever you want as long as you exercise enough. Hello, Michael Phelps and his 12,000 calorie diet?
Introducing the Michael Phelps diet. It's the only diet that lets you eat whatever Michael Phelps eats. And as you can tell, it works wonders for me.
But none of that is right. The most important factor to weight loss is the mental training. And ironically, mental training is the element that most people don't even give a single thought to. No pun intended. Let me describe a scenario to you and see if this sounds familiar. You turn over a new leaf and you decide to finally get in shape. You blow onto the scene with fresh energy and hit it hard for maybe a couple weeks. You even start to barely get some results after enduring all the soreness and the adjustment, when suddenly things just get really tough. Everything seems to be sabotaging your plans. You don't have the same energy, things get in the way and keep you from going to the gym. Sometimes you just blow off your workout for no reason and you have no idea why. It's like the universe is stepping in to stop you from hitting your goals. And after months, you just finally admit defeat and you cancel your gym membership. Or some of you out there are still paying it even years later.
Stop it. Get some help.
And sadly, the end result is you're even worse off than before you started, because now you feel defeated and like you couldn't accomplish it even when you tried. And you're still in the same shape, maybe even worse. Does that sound familiar? Look, this all happened because you neglected to factor in the mental training aspect of fitness. Reality check. The universe is an inanimate object. It doesn't care about sabotaging your plans any more than a rock does. It's your own subconscious that has been sabotaging you.
Maybe I am a monster.
Have you ever wondered how a poor person can win the lottery, millions upon millions of dollars, enough for several lifetimes, and yet somehow, in short order, they end up poor again? Their subconscious believes they are poor, and having money is a problem. So it influences their decisions to quickly get poor again and back to homeostasis. Well, your subconscious is doing the same thing to you, except your subconscious thinks that you were meant to be in the shape that you're in now. As soon as you start improving, something is wrong, and it throws everything at you to get you back in the shape it believes you should be in. What a jerk. The good news is you can change your subconscious. The bad news is it's not as easy as changing your conscious mind. Duh, it's the subconscious, but it can be done. Your subconscious works more like a computer. It processes and spits out whatever's programmed into it, and yours has been programmed for years by whatever negative self-images you've just recklessly put into it. Too bad we can't all have subconscious self-images as cool as Neo and Morpheus.
Your appearance now is what we call residual self-image. It is the mental projection of your digital self.
Yeah, baby.
But you need to program your subconscious to help you reach your goals, where everything just seems to be working for you rather than sabotaging you. Here's what we're going to do. Write out your dream goals in a way that is personal, positive, and present tense. Read and repeat them over and over again, especially right before bed and first thing in the morning when your subconscious is the most fertile. We're also going to switch your mind's polarity from negative to positive by taking captive every negative thought and replacing it with a positive one.
Yeah, okay, yeah, okay, yeah, okay, yeah, okay, yeah, okay.
That loud noise you just heard was the sound of everybody's eyes just rolling back in their heads.
Yeah, okay.
Guess what? I know how corny and boring this sounds, and I have no doubt you've gone through 100 goal-setting exercises at your job or in school or from your power of positive thinking aunt who won't shut up about it.
Aunt Joni's here.
Look, I didn't want to try it at first either, but as I said with calculating your baseline, I'm going to say it again here. Skip this step at your own peril. It's that important. Follow these steps. First, you need to write out your dream goals. These are different than regular goals. A regular goal could be to lose 10 pounds by summertime, which is fine. But a dream goal is deeper and more personal. It's what you really want. If you had a genie that could just grant you that wish. Many people can't even think what their dream goals are, and they'll have to spend some time thinking about them. That's okay. They're in there somewhere. You just have to find them. You may be so used to thinking of what's realistic that you've forgotten how to dream. But take a chance. It doesn't cost you anything. Let yourself dream and dream big. On my first dream goal card, I had to really think before I wrote this down. And this is personal, but I'll share it with you. I wrote down that when I walk into the room, I'm in such good shape that people wonder who I was. Can you see how much more powerful that feels than lose 10 pounds by summer? Once you have an idea of your dream goals, you need to write them in a very specific manner, following the 3 Ps: personal, positive, present tense. Just follow me here for a second because it gets a little weird for just a minute. We already covered how they need to be personal dreams and not just some wimpy goal, but they also have to be positive. And what I mean by that is in the affirmative. For example, don't say, I want to get rid of these love handles. That's in the negative. An affirmative would be, I want to have visible abs. See the difference? The reason for this is your subconscious is attracted to the absolute value of what you program into it, not whether it's negative or positive. If you say, I want to get rid of these love handles, you're actually repeating and affirming the phrase love handles, and your subconscious is going to attach to that, and it will always feel like love handles are part of the true you. This is how your brain works. If I say, don't think about Barney the dinosaur, what's the first thing you're going to think about? Yeah, Barney. Your brain didn't care about the don't, it only grabbed onto Barney. Don't grab onto Barney. Third, and this is the weird one, but you need to write your goal out in the present tense. The example I used earlier of I want to have visible abs, it's good, but it's actually not ideal because it's still in the future. So your subconscious will always think of it as some ethereal thing in the future. Instead, I should have said, I have visible abs, present tense. And just to make it more personal and positive, you really ought to say, I have visible abs and it feels awesome every time I take my shirt off to go swimming.
Accepted.
That goal is so good. You could just sit there with your eyes closed and you could almost feel how good it would be to be that person. Are you starting to see why this works? Now let's add a little bit of the science from our baseline calculating earlier, and we've got a powerhouse goal sheet. I have 8% body fat and it feels amazing. I'm in such good shape when I walk into the room, people wonder who that guy is. I have visible abs and it feels awesome every time I take my shirt off. I'm busier than most people, but my life is so much more fulfilling than others. I've woken up at 4:30 a.m. and gone to the gym every day for the past year. I am so productive. I handle my money extremely well. I never spend my money on silly things. I've just listed for you several real goals that I wrote down for myself back in 2007, and they all came true. One of my goals was even related to finance, and at the time, I used to rack up several overdraft charges every month, and I was terrible with money. I wrote out a goal that said, I am great at managing money and I never spend money on silly things. It felt very ironic when I wrote it, but fast forward a few years and I not only got my finances and irresponsible spending under control, I ended up becoming a licensed financial consultant at a Fortune 500 company and consulting others on how to manage their money and what to invest in. So imagine what it did for my fitness goals. Programming your subconscious is powerful. Write your goals out on cardstock or some durable paper. I used the backing from a notepad, but it needs to be tough because you're going to be taking it with you everywhere. Read it all the time. Don't just read it, visualize how it feels. This is especially important right before bed and right when you wake up. Your subconscious is super receptive at those times. So make your fitness goals stick this time. It's time for you to do the same thing. Lastly, we need to switch your mind's polarity. Believe it or not, this is a real thing. When I first started doing this, it suddenly happened unexpectedly and so distinctly after I'd been doing it for a few weeks that it caught me by surprise. It actually happened while I was shampooing my hair in the shower.
Because you're worth it.
Before I had this hair. Didn't take as long. Let me explain. Negative thoughts kill your motivation, energy, self-image, pretty much everything. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be some slap-happy idiot, but you also need to stop making excuses for negative thinking, like saying, well, I'm just being realistic. Wrong. You're being negative. Here's how this works. As soon as you identify a negative thought, you need to switch that thought. For me, I had to yell in my mind, next, or you can say, change, and immediately move on to the next thought. Only allow positive thoughts to enter your mind. Fight that voice that says you're missing out on important thoughts that you need to dwell on. You do not need to dwell on them. Here's what this might sound like. I don't feel like I burned any fat this week. Man, I knew this wasn't gonna work for long. I'll never get back. Oh, next. I need to go to the store later, don't I? Yeah, I gotta pick up some bananas. Man, it's been a hard day today. I am beat. I'm never gonna get out of this stupid job because I'm just not good enough. Oh, next. Oh, I have that meal I made earlier that's waiting for me in the fridge when I go home. It's gonna be great. You can just leave those negative thoughts in the dust and move on to whatever the next thought is that's coming down the chute. That story I told you about being in the shower, I started thinking a negative thought while I was spacing out, shampooing my hair, and immediately, before the thought even took form, my mind automatically went, oh, whoops, next! And I automatically drifted into a positive thought without me even stepping in or remembering to. I was ecstatic. My mind literally switched polarity that day. And now I was attracted to nothing but positive, self-affirming, and encouraging thoughts, all automatically. I had an autopilot, positive mind, and that is a million times more powerful than any supplement or exercise for that matter. That is worth its weight in gold. Now hear me, guys and gals, many of you will face opposition to this change in your life, particularly from the people you live with or those closest to you. Trust me, this can be like poison to your mental positivity, turning your train of thought negative again in a heartbeat. It's almost like when you make a positive change, it just draws out the negativity in other people to try and correct your change. So don't be surprised if it comes from where you least expect it. And now you know why, because their subconsciouses are untrained and they're trying to fix the problem. Okay, a couple things. First, don't expect them to get on board with you and thinking positive. Don't even try to convince them. You cannot control other people. This means that your only means of dealing with this issue is from your side, in your own mind, okay? And now you know. The best you can hope for is that they're inspired by your change. I mean, hey, it could happen. And then they decide to do it for themselves. If they ask you how, that's your time to share your strategy. But they won't even want to ask unless you leave them alone and just lead by the example of your changed life, where they're free to follow or they're free to not and stay negative. Second, recognize that they have no clue how contagious their negative thinking is. If they had any idea how harmful it was to your progress, they would probably stop if they love you. But only someone who's made this change, like you, recognizes how harmful the negative thinking is. And this idea will be like an alien language to them, so don't even try. But it can help you to bear it more if you know that they truly know not what they do. Lastly, remember that all training involves resistance. Like how strength training uses weight resistance, the more resistance, the stronger you grow, okay? Mental training is no different, and this strong resistance you're facing now will create in you a fiercely powerful mental attitude that can face far worse in the real world and under intense pressure later. If you'll just find the will to overcome it now, remember that when you're facing that. You're building mental fortitude, more than someone who doesn't have to face that, just like the weightlifter builds muscular fortitude.